Hey up everyone, so in today's video we're going to be making predictions for the Misfits card, what takes place this Thursday, and is headlined by Gib and Slim. And first off, before we start talking about any fights, why is this taking place on a Thursday? I understand that sometimes you don't want to do it on a Saturday because maybe it competes with like other sporting events, so usually they'll go with a Friday or a Sunday. But they haven't. They've gone with a Thursday, and I just find that very, very weird. And I'm not a big fan of it, if I'm being completely honest with you. Now, I do want it to be known that I'm not going to be talking about every single fight on this card, because believe it or not, I don't know everything about every Misfits fighter and whatnot. I only tune into the odd Misfits boxing event if it looks somewhat decent to me or there's nothing really on. So I know about some of the bigger names, and I've watched them multiple times. But for the smaller fights and fights where I don't really know the fighters that much, there's no point in me really waffling about nothing. So yeah, I'm just going to stick to the fighters I actually know something about. So first up, we have Swarms taking on Pineda, and I think this is quite an easy one to predict. I think that Pineda is just going to batter Swarms, to be honest with you. I believe Swarms is like 1-3 in the, you know, the Misfits influencer scene, whatever you want to call it, YouTube boxing scene. And I just think he's okay. Like, he's nothing great. He's been battered a few times. It's whatever, really. I think he got battered by Deji. And then you've also got Pineda, who went from like pro journeyman, became like into this, got involved with this whole YouTube scene, you know, took on KSI, and now everyone just loves him. They keep using the Undertaker's music for him as well. You know, he actually knows the boxing fundamentals. So yeah, that's pretty much all you can really say. Neither one of these two are really that good, but yeah, Pineda is much better than Swarms, so I think he'll beat Swarms. I'm gonna go by decision. We then have Deji's fight, and it's against a guy called Dawood Savage. Probably haven't heard of him because he is 0-5 when it comes to the YouTube boxing scene. I was about to call it pro boxing. It's not pro boxing. The YouTube boxing scene. He is 0-5, so this really is a fight that Deji shouldn't be losing, and if he does, and Jesus Christ. But I think he'll win this one. I've seen a lot of people complain that Deji should be fighting someone better. I agree and understand, but I also disagree because I understand why they've gave Deji a tune-up, you know what I mean? He's beat the likes like Fuzi, Swarms, and Swarms is a better name than this guy. I feel like they should have gave him someone a bit better. Maybe Pineda, I don't know. But regardless, it feels like he does need to step up considering he's been doing it the same amount of time as Jake Paul, when you put it in that perspective. But he's had his differences, you know what I mean? Everyone's different mentally, stuff like that. So I understand it. I just hope if Deji goes out and steamrolls this guy, okay, you need to give him a big step up. If he goes out there and just has a lackluster performance and whatever, just pack it in. You know, if you're having a lackluster performance against someone who's 0-5, and I believe, yeah, he's been finishing all 5 of his losses, all 5 of his fights, just give it up, you know, there's literally no point at this point. So I feel like Deji goes out there steamrolling, there's nothing to be hyped about, but it should show that, yeah, he needs to fight someone thingy, because, you know, I know he's lost to Wasabi, who's alright, Vinny Hacker was quite a big guy and half alright, Jake Paul, Floyd Mayweather, crazy. So, yeah, I understand, but I feel like Deji, if you get him out there, nice, steamroll him, get him a decent fight, you know, somewhat of a decent step up in competition. And if he just, it's a shit fight, not that fun to watch, can't get him out of there, time to hang up the gloves, buddy. We also have HS Tiki-Taki making his second appearance in the boxing ring, taking on someone called the Masai Warrior. And this guy, this is his debut. There's nothing about him boxing-wise. I think this will be another layup for HS Tiki-Taki. Get some more hype behind him. Get him used to boxing a bit more, you know. Show what maybe some new things he's learned since his last win against that guy he fought in the last one. Let's be honest, he was fucking pathetic. But regardless, you know, he's taking on this other guy. Maybe this other guy can pull out something. Actually, that sounds weird to say like that. Maybe this guy can do something. Maybe this guy can get the win, okay? Yeah, let's try and avoid all the tricky words. Maybe this guy can get the win against HS Tiki-Taki. Would be an underdog win. I don't see that happening. I think HS Tiki-Taki is going to get him out of there in the first round. And then hopefully, maybe we can see a step up in competition. Usually for like the first, I'm going to say usually about the first 4 or 5 fights, you never really get anyone half decent, so hopefully you can start to get someone half decent, especially if he just blitzes through this guy. I've got HS Tiki-Taki by first round knockout, or TKO, however you view it. Next up, we have a fight that I'm actually quite interested in, and that's Jarvis and Ben Williams. Now, this is a very solid fight and good matchmaking in my opinion. Now, I believe that Ben Williams is going to win this one by decision. I think what makes this one a bit more interesting is that Ben Williams in his last fight, I don't agree with the stoppage. I think it was a really poor stoppage. And not only that, I think what made it more interesting was that Warren Spencer was, having a bit of success against Ben Williams. I'd say Ben Williams was definitely winning, but that Warren Spencer was landing a few shots against Ben Williams. It would have been interesting to see how it would have played out if it went on further. So I was interested. I think Ben Williams still would have won, but it makes you think, oh, well, if he couldn't land him, can Jarvis? And I believe Jarvis can, but at the same time, I just think Ben Williams will learn from that last performance. When I see Ben Williams, I don't think he's everyone's cup of tea. He comes across a bit flashy, cocky, not everyone's cup of tea, but you need those sorts of personalities in boxing, regardless of whether you like it or not. It's like the same with Ben Whittaker. You might not like him, and I know a lot of people hate him right now, given what happened with Liam Cameron, but regardless, you need personalities like that in boxing. And he's not even my cup of tea, but when you watch him, I do think, this guy's got a bit of something, This guy actually looks the part, unlike many of them. And I just think he's going to get a comfortable decision against Jarvis. Maybe Jarvis is going to rustle a few feathers here and there, land a few shots here and there. You're thinking, oh, if you can keep that up. I just think Ben Williams is going to be... I just think he's the better boxer, and that's all it comes down to. I think Jarvis can win this one, and I wouldn't exactly be shocked or surprised if he did end up winning, but I just think Ben Williams is going to get it done, Jarvis, he has lost before against Anison Gibb. It's the only person he has lost to. I think it'll be a good, fun fight. I am very much interested in this fight, Ben Williams hopefully gets a big step up as well if he fights Jarvis. Well, this is his big step up, really, but I mean, if he beats Jarvis, I'd like to see an even bigger step up, and to see who would fight next, I'll be very much interested in. Because, like I say, I think he does look the part. I think, you can tell he's done a bit of boxing for quite a period of time. And you can't really say that about many others when it comes to the Misfits boxing scene. So I'm very much interested, but I do think that Ben Williams is going to get a decision win. And then we have the co-main between Salt Papi and King Kenny. And was a bit of drama. I was just looking at my phone where this fight wasn't going to happen because apparently Salt Papi is trying to change it to 5 rounds when it's been agreed 6 rounds. And King Kenny was fuming about it and saying, well, I'm not going to fight Ben if they're going to change last minute because it's a principle, which I do understand, it's not really on. But then Mams Taylor put out some tweets saying that the fight's still on. So thankfully we are still getting it. But that little news right there has put some doubt in my head about Salt Papi. I think I was going to side with Salt Papi. I do believe he's a decent boxer. I know he's been finished by Gibb and he lost to Anthony Taylor, but many people have lost to Anthony Taylor. He's a very frustrating fighter, has a very frustrating style. And when it comes to Slim, I feel like he was beating Slim, but he just got caught and he got too tired. And going into this now, knowing that he wanted 5 rounds, and apparently according to King Kenny, he's tried to change it to 5 rounds a few times throughout the entire training camp, it just leaves a bit of doubt, why that would be the case. So I'm going to go with King Kenny. I feel like Salt Papi may have a cardio issue here, and if that is the case, maybe he's got to tune down how much output he puts out, or, I don't know what he's going to have to adapt around it, because if you're gassing out, you need to find a way around it. If your cardio just naturally isn't that good, even as if you train your hardest, well then again, you need to work your way around it and become someone who just doesn't throw as much, but maybe just more of a counter, even though he is quite a counter puncher anyway, to an extent. I just think that King Kenny's got this now. I think going into it as well, it just gives King Kenny a bit more confidence that, oh, this guy's trying to get an extra round taken off because, I know I'm fit enough. I just think it gives him an edge too, especially confidence-wise. So I'm going to go with King Kenny. I was going to go with Salt Papi, but after this news, I'm going to go with King Kenny. And I do think this fight will be quite good. And not only that, King Kenny in his last performance did look really impressive. So yeah, I'm going to go with King Kenny. I've got no problem with going with King Kenny. I think he has improved quite a bit over the years. I do think he's a nice little rangy boxer. So I'm going to go with King Kenny. I've said this about 20 times now, but I just don't know. I think that's just swayed it for me, that new information. And then we have the main event we've all been wanting for a very long time. That's between Big Gibby and Slim. I'm going to go with Slim. I don't know. I've just rewatched not all of it, but some of his fight against Sulk Pappy, and I know he was losing the majority of it. I feel like that's Slim though. I feel like he can lose the majority of a fight, but then, just like that, he takes it back and is able to get the win. With Gib, I watched his last performance against Jarvis. Again, I watched just a few minutes of it. I just don't see his route to victory. Like, I think he might struggle with the range of Slim. I think he might beat Slim in a lot of instances. But Slim does a decent well of covering up. Gib does get hit a bit. And I don't know, yeah, I'm very much interested in this fight. I'm not entirely sure how many rounds we'll get in. 8 would be nice, I'll be honest. But I think it'll probably be 6, but 8 would be quite nice. But I'm going to go with Slim. I'm not fully confident with the pick. I would rather Gib win. I much want Gib to win this rather than Slim. You know, I think if Gib wins this as well, after that press conference, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting Gib versus KSI, which would be quite a good one. And a good build-up as well. Much more interesting than a Slim versus KSI build-up, even though I think Slim could cause some issues for KSI. But I just think Slim's going to get the job done against Gib. I just don't think, I don't know. Again, I want Gib to win this. I just think the range that Slim has, they both have a lot of confidence. So you can't really say, oh, one's going to take it confidence-wise. I think they both really are confident going into this fight, which is what you want to see, a good thing to see. I'm just going to go with Slim. I just don't think Gib's going to struggle with that reach. I really think that. And if you try and push Slim back the entire time, I can see Slim just trying to wrap up with him, clinch with him, and trying to just nullify that and not let him get much off. And then when it comes, he'll land a big shot. I mean, we've seen Austin McBroom drop Gib, is it twice? Once or twice at least anyway. You've seen Jake Paul obviously beat Gib as well, but I believe Jake Paul is on a different level compared to all of these other YouTube boxers. So yeah, I'm going to go with Slim. I'm going to go with a decision win for Slim. I think he'll get the nod on the judges' scorecard. But what do you guys think about this card, and what predictions are you making for the card? Let me know in the comments. I'm very much interested for this Misfits card. It's not often that I make predictions for Misfits or any Misfits content in general, but given that this card's actually somewhat decent, you know, like 3 or 4 decent fights on there, I thought, you know what, we'll make a little predictions about it and see what people think. I'm interested in seeing what you guys think. Again, not a fan of it being on a Thursday, but it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.